Welcome back. Part 11. Expedition 33 with a therapist. I appreciate that you made it through episode 10. I realize that that one was the lightest so far in terms of analysis, but I do hope that you enjoyed it still as I try to squeeze the juice out of this glorious fruit. See what happens today. But I am quite grateful to have you on board, hanging out with us.
Let us get wet.
SKA swims so fast, it's great.
What have we here?
Alright, outfit for Lune, haircut for Mael, outfit for Mael. I have a feeling I'm... No. Nope.
Let us get wet.
Can I fight this thing in the water?
It's the swimmer.
Nice.
Alright, let's see what's going on here. We're making our way toward the story beats. But first, more of this. Hey, look, it's like an evil version of the dude that we said we were going to maybe try to help.
Let's spill some ink. Let the ink flow. Lightning strike! Ready to parry. Careful.
Lune, careful.
Strike!
It's the door to the manor. Sure is. Ooh, little library. Neat little area here. A bottle of wine, some tea. So much detail here for the sake of just being here. Parkour library, apparently.
Well, that will help.
Shape of energy. The same as the shape of water. Oh shit. Would you look at that? Some creepy dolls. Look at that baby. Creepy ass baby.
Time for swim.
Yes, we got more boats crashed up on the beach. Oof. Is this bad? We didn't even necessarily need to fight them. We can just go through this portal and see what's on the other side. So that's what I'm gonna do. Blade's Graveyard. Can't we talk about Easter eggs too? No, not if it's a spoiler of any kind.
Nice.
Reverence. Oh, cool. Picking up. Wow, look at this. There's an eclipse happening. Some big ass swords. Dude, these. Wow. I don't think this is a spoiler. Probably better not to say it. If you have to ask, you should just assume it's probably best not to say anything. Boy, we're gonna have a hell of a discography back at camp, friends.
Everyone okay?
Yes. Blood in the water? Oof. Jesus.
Time for swim.
Alright, only because I'm curious. Do I just stand on top of SKA while we fight?
Oh well.
Strong.
I'm ready.
Oh my god, this thing's... Dude, this thing's
Guard up!
way too strong.
This will hurt.
Oh, this music's great.
Blades. On me.
My turn. Here we go.
Oh my god, this thing is... It's in water, so I would think that Thunderfall would probably be a good thing. She'll probably die. I'm not going to revive anybody, but not burning anymore, which sucks.
Cut him down. Target marked.
I might bail out. I'm thinking maybe fight.
Benzo, dodge!
Yeah, I'm gonna let him kill me. I'm not ready for this fight yet. I don't feel like sitting here for 7 hours. 7 hours! Commercial free Expedition 33 starts now. No, I don't want this. Wait, why am I doing this? Oh. Friends, a reminder, any additional context around things, whether it's what they are or are not, is strictly forbidden in chat.
Time for a swim.
If that health bar seems like a not right now kind of guy, yeah, absolutely it does. Let's say go get stronger, and then we'll talk. Let's go to the Forgotten Battlefield.
Everyone okay?
Alright, SKA, thanks for bringing us over here, boss.
You'll get used to them. We're going to see a lot more.
If we hurry, we can cross before nightfall.
Ooh. He's not wrong. Habituation is a hell of a thing. And you can habituate to stimuli that you would never imagine that you would habituate to. And habituation often happens via exposure. Like if you are constantly seeing thing, like dead body, yeah, the first few for a while might really be unsettling. And some people say, no, you never get used to a dead body. But to some extent, you do. Because it's been represented to you in a particular type of way. And the brain has a way of taking non-novel stimuli and just kind of like filtering it out. Why you go nose blind if you walk into a room that's got a vanilla candle going, you might smell it for the first like 5 minutes, but then you don't really smell it anymore after that unless you're actually paying attention. And even then, sometimes it can be hard to find it. Same thing happens with your nose. Your eyes, actually, one of your eyes at all times can see your nose, but you habituate to seeing it. You sort of filter it out. There's all sorts of cool examples of this in your brain. So this is, he's not saying this, I think, as a way to be insensitive to the situation. he's stating what will amount to essentially being to what will essentially be a fact, which is that they're going to see a lot of these dead bodies, and however unsettled they are now, they will eventually habituate to the fact that they're everywhere. And there might be novel things that they pick out from like island to island or from pile to pile. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be affected by seeing it, but they will get used to it. And there's utility to that, because if you constantly experienced everything as novel, it would be exhausting. So, may seem unempathic. In a particular context, it might be. Like, if Mael was looking at Gustav's dead body and Verso walked up and was like, you'll get used to thinking of him as a dead guy. Not the time. Seeing piles of bodies that they only connect with insofar as they have a shared like identity with them, they'll habituate. And that would be good, because if they have to work through their way through all of this, Verso giving them a heads up that this isn't the only time they're going to see it, I think is doing them a solid, especially if they plan to keep attending to the mission. So it's tough, but our brain's wired in a lot of cool ways evolutionarily to handle this type of stuff. Can habituation lead to dissociation? I don't really see how those two things are connected. I'm not going to say like yes or no 100% in any direction, but off the top of my head, I can't imagine connecting those two things.
Wait. Could we bury Gustav?
I wish we could, but protocol is to keep moving. Gustav would understand.
We can look for a suitable place along the way, yeah? We'll find a nice spot.
Actually, there is a place. Past the quarry, out of sight of the painters. A tranquil haven, protected by magnificent trees. I think you'll approve.
Lead the way.
See, the good stuff was just right there. All right, so I keep emphasizing this, but this is because it's so important. I want anybody watching this playthrough to take the words right and wrong out of your head as it relates to how you take in what's happening, particularly as it pertains to these grief processes and some of the differences of opinion on how to handle it. Lune is not wrong here or bad for suggesting that they need to follow protocol instead of burying Gustav. I wouldn't even go to a point of saying that it's insensitive. I might say that it's insensitive to Mael's needs, but she's not like antagonistic here. Whatever reason Lune has for saying we need to stick to protocol is likely similar to what we've already talked about. That in times of significant emotional intensity, which I think they all experience around death, no matter how it is that it comes around, Lune finds great comfort and solace in protocol. It's stable, it's consistent, it's reliable. There's a nice, I don't really want to use the word attachment here, but there's a nice attachment to rules and doctrine. And so when Mael stops and she's holding Gustav's arm and says, "Can we bury Gustav?" I mean, that's a spike in emotional intensity for everybody, because everybody in here had a connection to him except for Verso. So Lune says, let's follow protocol. That's fine. That's how she's managing this. Doesn't mean Mael has to listen to her. Doesn't mean that CL has to listen to her. CL could very well have said, yeah, I'm actually with Lune on this, and Mael could decide to push back there and say, no, I really want to bury him, and I'm not going forward until we do. Or she can say, all right, fair enough. Thanks for a reminder. I do think that the recognition of Mael being the most connected person to Gustav and being the youngest member insofar as Gustav was a more primary attachment figure for her, if not the primary attachment figure for her. When she says that she needs to bury Gustav, I think CL noticing the emotion of that and the importance of that for Mael is also important. I think that it's an okay thing to acknowledge that. It doesn't hurt them to stop for a couple seconds if for no other reason than to have the conversation, given that Mael is essentially stating a need here. So saying we'll find the right spot provides a level of reassurance. If nothing else, it acknowledges that Mael is still thinking about this and having a hard time about it and would like to do something action-oriented, and that's great from an intimacy standpoint with her. Verso is in the most precarious situation because he's the least emotionally connected to the group. Yes, he's rolling with them, but he doesn't have a history with them and is still definitely an outsider for many reasons, but one of the reasons being that he has more information about a lot of stuff here than they do, and he hasn't really been forthcoming about it. So when he gets down to Mael's level and acknowledges her and says, I know of a place up front, or I know of a place past here that's got trees and is beautiful, and I think you'll approve. I think it's okay for him to do that because Mael engaged the group, and he is part of that group. And Mael could say, I don't want to hear from you, and that's fine. But I appreciate his sensitivity to her. And getting down on her level, I don't read as being particularly I don't think that that's a talking down to her kind of thing. Like, I don't think that's a parentification or I can't think of the right word right now, but like, I don't think it's infantilizing her. I think it's just kind of a recognition of like, I'm going to disarm myself a bit here and recognize the importance of this moment. Me physically getting down like that is me actually like stopping. It's not me just turning around while we're walking and acknowledging it in passing. It's me really making an effort to show you that this has stopped me in my tracks, and it is important enough for me to acknowledge. I think what a lot of people miss in situations like these is that the actual operation is rarely as important as the validation and the acknowledgement. So Mael is not necessarily needing to bury Gustav. I mean, it might be important to her, but getting some level of acknowledgement from the group of how important this is to her and having these people hear her concerns, even if all three of them are like, Mael, we hear you, we would love to do it too, or we hear that this is important to you and this is not the time or the place because we don't know how much danger we're in and we don't know how much time, but we hear you. And if it's something that we can find in ourselves to do at some point, we will, but as a group, we need to override that. Right? The acknowledgement of how important it is to her goes a long way. And I do think that Verso has to make the grandest of gestures around that in order to get some buy-in and show that he cares about it. And he did that there. I also think that he probably is drawing from a significant amount of empathy, as all of them are able to do. They've all been steeped in death for their whole lives. I mean, God, their whole identities and purpose seems to be wrapped around the whole concept. But Verso this is probably not the first time he's come across this type of thing. I also think that if Verso wants to gain rapport with the group, particularly Mael, who is still going to associate him with the death of Gustav, Verso absolutely needs to have the presence of mind to be aware that like that gesture there is buying karma for him from her, so to speak, of an acknowledgement that I know this is deeply important and I want you to have counter data points that you can draw from to say, okay, Verso is sensitive to the fact that Gustav died. He's not just somebody I associate with the moment that Gustav died. And I think that's an important thing too. So, everybody's doing their best. There's no right or wrong way to do this. If they stopped and buried Gustav right now, great. If they never bury Gustav, that's fine too. That is less important than as a unit coming together and acknowledging and validating what each other have experienced. So get right or wrong out of your head with these types of moments, and you'll already be ahead of the game. No. Hey, man. Hey, guys, I'll show you to the tree.
Let me show you something.
Chalier performs a smashing jump. Some enemies can cast gradient attacks. Gradient attacks are powerful and can only be defended with a gradient counter. God, we got more stuff. Oh, God.
That's so done!
Press the right trigger to perform a gradient counter. Wait, so now can I do regular? How do I know whether I have to do a gradient counter?
Flames on me!
Here we go.
Let the ink flow. Lightning strike! Any other tricks we should know?
One thing at a time.
All right. Gradient. All right. Cool. See what types of enemies are capable of that. Man, this is a really wild area. Like, the detail here is really great. The whole vibe is just like, you're like Wind Waker vibes on the ocean, and then death, decay. I mean, look how many resources and people we have flung at this. I mean, that's kind of that's the wild thing, right? Is like, look how just the mass casualties that are all in the direction of trying to prevent a yearly wipe, the purge. The great lengths that the collective will go to try to prevent something that they worry is inevitable and desperately want to influence. It's just like the resources people will throw at their survival when able is just incredible. Oh, look at, oh my God.
These are all expeditions?
A single Nevron took out most of them.
Is it still around?
I've only seen it once, many years ago, so most likely not.
What's interesting to me is like the lack of, we really just don't have any context for why the world is like fractured in the way that it is. And it's so, I mean, it's so deeply normalized at this point that they don't talk about it. And I like it from, you know, it keeps the intrigue up for us as the audience of the game. But like, I really would love to know the level of understanding that they have for why the world is the way that it currently is. God, God, look, this is Elden Ring right here. Like literally, you look out over the battlefield and you're like, oh cool, look at all these dickwads I gotta fight, dude. I mean, so hey, quick moment, real quick. I know I brought attention to it at one point, but how many of you have already habituated to the fact that I'm walking past piles and piles and piles of bodies? Who are looking at the 33 in the background with the sun and the fracture and all the enemies and stuff, and haven't noticed that I have walked past literally thousands of bodies. Yeah. So when Verso said you'll get used to it, you will too. We all do. It becomes part of the scenery. Right? Pretty wild. You go, ooh, piece of candy over here. You see the novelty. It just blends right in. But we are walking past hundreds of thousands of dead bodies. This is like unbelievable. These big ass hammers and shit here too. And I'm even went so far as to say this is beautiful. I mean, in its own way it is, but. All right, buddy. What do you got? Oh, look at all of you. Look at all of you.
Dodge!
Watch out, Mael.
That must be the
Careful,
gradient.
Mael.
Alright.
I'm ready.
I mean, I guess it mixes it up a little bit, but. Alright.
Flames. On me.
Here we go.
Lightning. Strike.
Bring it on.
Guard up.
Careful, Verso.
Flames. On me.
Ramasson. Look at that guy's just skipping along, having a good time. He's not even in a bad mood. He's just chilling. We're gonna like go up and try to kill him. He's doing his little "when the Saints come marching in" routine.
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Verso, dodge.
Watch out, my Al. Not impressed.
Finesse and grace.
Okay, so I mean, obviously, there's still a window to hit the right trigger whenever it's black smoke.
Let's dance. I'm ready.
Okay. There, just. But the thing that it makes you wonder is who's responsible for all the deaths, right? Like, it's not necessarily like I don't think Renoir did all of it, or maybe he did.
Well, that will help.
So, like, that in and of itself is kind of wild to think about.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll manage. Good stuff.
Lune, watch out.
Do it again just so I can get used to this. Man, whatever happened to the super happy fun time music from the Gestural Village, you know what I'm saying? Oh, can't even open that door.
Perfect.
Man. All right, happy dancing dude.
I'm ready. Flames on me.
Damn, that wrecks those dudes.
Feel the burn.
There we go. Okay. So you do have to wait turns gray, and then you wait, and then you parry whenever the attack comes like you would in a normal parry. Okay. Just had to feel that out. A little weird. Hey, what's up, little dude? Oh, look at this. 4 little dudes.
Let's carve a path. Target marked. Watch out.
Cat, please get out of my way.
Not impressed.
Cat. Down in front. Thank you. Oh, look at this. We got saka patats and everything dead over here. Not even just humans. What's up, Dick? That is your name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's carve a path. Use your fire. Good stuff.
I'll do it.
Oh my God.
Useful.
I'm seeing some talk about like lore and history and stuff in chat, and I would ask that y'all not, because you might inadvertently spoil something. I know that I am rigid about this, but it is an important part of the participation of the chat in the live stream.
Finesse and grace.
Well, then he still does his final attack.
Just try it.
En garde. Great.
A lot of goodies in here.
Great.
I mean, for being a place filled with death, decay, and destruction. Pretty good candy. say there's not. What I don't love is that I keep fighting the same mobs like over and over again. There's not a lot of variety to it. Like I basically just do the same thing every time. Like my L-Spark. Versus keen
Ready
thing
to
back.
parry.
This thing does this. We parry it. Kill it. And this thing does the same thing. Kill it.
Great.
Recover 50% health on killing an enemy. Sweet kill.
Good stuff.
Like Sokka Tots were like enlisted. You know, did we have like this? Like, did previous expeditions have like a synergy with them? Sokka Tots is like, yo, I want to fight. You guys are fighting, so let's do more fighting. A lot going on here. Yeah, what's up, buddy? Thank you for the sub, bruv. Da 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 da.
Great. On me.
My turn.
That attack.
That's better.
Let us stain them. Feel the burn. I'll do it.
Oops. That was weird. It almost looked like the mortal thing was delayed there.
From fire.
Occur, thank you for the sub. Wow, this Verso knows
Well, that will help.
what this place is all about. He's been through here. And I wonder how much of the history he also knows since he's been around for so long. I would have so many questions for this dude. So many questions. I'm surprised Lune hasn't just absolutely pounded him. Dude, I'm loving the Expedition 41 flags. So, I guess what I'm curious about is... where do I want to go? Okay, I guess I want to... Seems like going towards the Paintress is probably the way I'm supposed to go. Ooh, what we got going on down here, huh? Another one of these buddies.
I'll use your fire.
Ooh. All right. Now we're talking. What do you think they're talking about over there? Oh, guys. There's like some device out there. Remember we like killed all of them? That's pretty cool. You know, the paintress isn't so bad. It's really just misunderstood. All these people keep coming in, trying to take them out. I hope my hair stays on my head the same way that Renmar's has. Hey, let's do the haka real quick so that these guys are intimidated that are walking up to us. Okay.
On guard! Flames on me!
Storm is coming.
Eyes shut!
Just try it.
Interesting.
Honestly, I want to keep everybody alive so I don't have to use CL in combat. I don't want to learn how to use it.
My turn. I'll use your fire.
Okay.
Well, that will
On
help.
death plus 4 AP to allies. I don't plan on dying, so not interested in that. Ooh, piece of
Nice.
Oh, this is that door. Would you look at that? Hey. Hey. All right, that works. Look, ah, man. I mean, that it's pretty breathtaking. Like when you look at this, it is just an. It almost makes me wonder why we haven't been slaughtered yet. Like with how many dead bodies are here, like why are we not also just absolutely crushed aside from having plot armor? That's what I'd be asking myself. What's going on here? We're strong, but we're not like that special. We are.
My turn. That's better.
Smoked. I mean, why didn't everybody on this beach just do that? Just be better. I see you up there, you dingus.
Flames on me.
I would have lived.
Feel the burn. Parry it. Ah. On fire.
Let the ink flow. Let the ink flow. Lightning, strike!
Great.
Oh, all right. I see you. Deal with you later. I'm gonna find your little landing spot first.
Feel the burn.
Ready to parry. From fire.
Let's cover the path.
Let us stain them.
What have we here?
Alright, so there's the thing. That's where the little dude skis gotta go. Curious to see what his special little ability is. Find out, buddy boy. Go. Go. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. It's like when I try to get my cats out of my room every night before I go to bed. Come on. Speaking of cats. Hi.
Watch out, my Al.
Please, survive!
Ready to evade. Danger!
Watch out, my Al. Doggy's on fire.
Alright. That wasn't hard at all. It's because you're playing on easy, DrMick. Nobody's impressed. Play on a harder difficulty. Waste more of our time with combat. What's going on here? Fading woman. You may leave. I have no interest in speaking. What if I want to put... Alright, I'll respect your boundaries, I guess. Got so many questions, though.
Emily, Expedition Wolf 41. My bag's getting weighed down from all my kills. Maybe I need to pick smaller trophies. Estelle bagged 7 of those armoured nevs. So I've got to get at least 8 in this next batch if I'm going to beat her. Leah showed me how to double up my weapon pictos. Might not be stable, but the bang's going to be worth it. The paintbrus might be out of our reach, but her minions aren't. And if I die, I'm gonna make sure I die big. Like Xavier says, subtlety is not our game. We only live till 40. So let's go make some friends.
You know, people have different ways of figuring out how to keep themselves going when there is like a sense of helplessness or inevitability of something or whatever. And gamification is a really common one. Like people will produce certain little contests and find little minute pieces where they can try to vie for something, and often that's just to keep a sense of novelty amidst novelty, engagement, and control amidst a bunch of stimuli that you don't really have much in terms of the meta to be able to do it. This reminds me of like Horizon Zero Dawn, where I would love to have insight, more insight into the previous expeditions and like what their experience was and what they saw when they got here. Because the diversity of that and kind of the compounding of it, I have to imagine is really interesting. And how it's a progressive, like, developmental process.
Watch out.
Finesse and grace.
Whoa, here we go. Here we go. Buddy boy with the shiny arms.
Take cover!
Luna, careful!
Oh, I thought I had it. Alright. Dramatic luster. No, not on. God damn it, dude.
Get ready. Push out my help.
Let's spill some ink.
Okay, sure.
Blades. On me.
Oh, it absorbs fire stuff, so can't do that.
Ready to strike.
Brace yourselves.
God damn it. Ugh. Alright.
Shields up.
Let us stand. Lightning, strike!
That's a weakness. Good enough. None of the fucking matters. It's gonna heal.
I'll do it. Careful, Verso. I'll do it.
Not impressed.
Strike.
Well, I guess I should find out.
Might have. Here we go.
Ready to parry. Okay. I'm ready.
Let's carve a path.
Careful, my elbow.
Not impressed.
Brace yourselves.
Not gonna
Let's
matter.
spill some ink. Precise. Strike.
I've got this. Let's carve a path. No time to lose.
Careful, my El.
You're outmatched. Target marked.
What?
Just try it.
On gas.
Just die. Thank you. Keep getting weapons from CL. I don't love that. Alright. Plus AP on successful parry. I mean, that's good. But I have, well. Maybe time to drop this. Oh my god, there's so many. Plus 25% increased counterattack damage is probably a good thing to have. Oh, it's my L has that, okay. Oh, that's why he's so strong, because I've got roulette on. What's up here? More death? Alright. Little area. I want to know what this person who doesn't want to talk to me has to say. Besides, I don't want to talk to you. You may leave. I have no interest in it. Oh, alright, we got 10. We got 10. Hell. I want that. 7 for our boy. glass cans. Next.
Looks like we passed the danger zone.
And no sign of your special Nevron.
Oh, I guess we're lucky.
All of a sudden, it's pretty again. Man. Oh, would you look at that?
Nice.
Nice. Nice. So we got more expedition shit going on here to learn about. Down with it. I'm down. God, what a contrast. Look at that. You like walk through that crazy ass shit and then you get out here and it's just like, oh, look at the pretty forest.
Expedition 57, Carla. These siege engines seemed much more powerful in Lumiere. But on this battlefield, next to all these broken bodies, staring at the true size of the monolith, I feel despair. I dare not show my true feelings. As commander, I cannot yield to fear, but I can't help but wonder, is pressing forward the correct course of action? Our lives are forfeit anyway, but is there perhaps a better way to spend such precious coin?
I mean, I don't know why this is popping up for me now, other than I guess maybe just this message making me think about this, but it is kind of fascinating in some ways that, like, given the fact that all of these people have a finite amount of time left, right? Like if you're 27 and you're at the 40th Gommage and you're like, oh shit, like I'm gonna live another, X amount of years. Or even if you're just like, I'm gonna live 6 more months because I'm in Expedition 33. I'm gonna live like another year. So I'm willing to go out and put myself at risk of dying sooner just so I can die with a sense of satisfaction, which I won't feel because I'm dead, or the fact that I tried to exert control over something that was presented as something that controls me. So instead of living a full 34 years, I'll go 33 years and 6 months and die on a beach to catapult fire, but at least while I'm in that space, I'm doing something. I'm going out violently and painfully. Like I could just go out as a burst of flowers in 6 months, but I don't want to do that. Like the general orientation to that, I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way to like go after this. I just find it fascinating that some people are so afraid of death that they're willing to put themselves at risk to prevent it and possibly die sooner. What I think is interesting about this actual journal here is that she says, I cannot yield to fear. Well, fear is not the thing that you would be yielding to. What the subtext of that is I don't want to yield to my desire to run the hell away from this. I'm continuing to charge in despite the fact that, like, maybe my fear response here is to run, but fear is not something that you yield to. Whatever fear might be prompting you to want to do in response to it, you could say you're yielding to, but even that ultimately is a choice. The choice to charge on versus fall back is a choice. Also, sometimes people do well not to necessarily see their commanders have panic attacks, but can do well to have their commanders acknowledge that they themselves are also afraid. But yeah, man, I mean, I can only imagine, right? Like you show up here thinking you're gonna do something. And it's even more fascinating to me because by the time you're at Expedition 57, there have been, you know, almost 30 more ahead of you and nothing happened. And everybody's willing to just keep throwing themselves at this thing. Possibly foregoing just an ability to stay present with who they're with in Lumia. I'm not saying all these people have to just embrace the fact that the Gommage is going to happen, they're going to die. But this whole game is a really fascinating take on what would happen if you knew you were going to die. Like if you knew that at age 84, you're going to die from cancer. How many people would spend a whole shitload of time trying to prevent that cancer so that they can maybe live an extra year, but maybe put themselves either at risk or spend so much time thinking about how they're going to die, they forget to live. Death weighs heavy on the psyche when people actually bring it to consciousness. And so I find it's just kind of cool to see all the different ways that this has been handled. But that's where my brain goes with all this stuff. Interesting to see how far some of these expeditions made it distance-wise. Expedition 33, by contrast, did poorly with their very early Old Man Kane guy encounter. Yeah. Well, I do wonder, right, like, we're running on less people now. Like, I would imagine the first few, like, I don't know that only 33-year-olds can go on this, right? Because, like, my L's here. So it may be that the first decade of these, they were sending people in droves. They might have even been sending young people, right? Like, it's not that they're like, oh, hey, go to the nursing home and grab all the 80-year-olds. They're going. Like, it very well may have been that, like, millions of people from the age of 18 to 75 enlisted to help these. So you have, like, ostensibly way huger numbers going after this thing in the beginning, and then it's literally just attrition that's getting the best of people. Like, over time, you're just running out of people. The years go by, less people are older, less people are able to have kids, like, all that stuff. So, pretty wild stuff. It's such a, you know, as soon as you think you know what you would do in this situation, you don't. Like what would actually happen? Would you go? Would you fight this? Would you want to crawl in a hole and die? What would you want to do? What would you do? Crossing the damn sea was hard, but oof, didn't expect to find a war zone brimming with Nevrons. Vested affinity. Why inverted on self? Ben is. Alright, let's fight them.
On me. Okay. I do not want to part with my secret stash, but you dueled me good. Have a look-sees. Obscure, an outfit for my own. I'll buy it. I'm gonna buy this just to have it.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty good. Hey, thanks for being here. Appreciate y'all taking the time to watch these playthroughs. Very, very neat of you to do.
Hey. You holding up? We're almost there.
Holding up. Everywhere we go, just death. Death and more death. Everywhere we go, just death. I don't want to see that anymore.
Look, my
I
Elliot.
thought you would understand. You said you spent your immortality burying the people around you. Doesn't any of this bother you? And you. Gustav's dead. How can you keep going like nothing happened?
We need to continue.
Why do you...
Mael. You know what we must do. When one falls, come on.
Stages of grief is bullshit. So if your first thought in looking at that was like, oh, Mael's in the anger stage of grief, stages of grief are bullshit. It's all pop psychology nonsense. There's not stages. You don't have to go through all of them. There's not an order. Honestly, the stages of grief as a therapist drive me absolutely nuts because it leads people to believe that they're supposed to grieve a certain way and that they have to go through all of the emotional conditions of grief in order to get through it. And that's not how it works. The stages of grief are bullshit. Now, Mael is angry. That's okay. There is nothing wrong with engaging anger, feeling it when you're going through this. And she's going to go through a roller coaster, as so many of these people are. Where the higher order engagements happen are when people recognize their anger and then acknowledge that they can be intentional about what they do with it. So I don't think Mael's reaction here and how she engaged everybody was like bad. Like, I don't think she's it's not the kind of thing where I'd call attention to and be like, yo, chill. I also think that this is an opportunity to discuss like alternative responses. Mael can be angry and sad and speak to that rather than compare her experience and expression of it to the others around her. We talk about comparison as being a poisonous process to the grief process all the time. When she looks at Lune and Ciel and goes, how could you just keep going like nothing happened? There's a comparison component there. And I think Mael, as anybody in that space, would do better to say, guys, I'm really having a hard time. I'm mad. This is killing me. I'm tired of seeing this. And she could be curious, like, I'd like to know more about how you guys are managing this, or are you experiencing the same thing I am, or whatever. Like, you can reach it from an inquisitive standpoint, but to kind of zap Lune and CL, who are fully capable of handling it, I would say is not the best way to go about it. Only because she's causing some level of interpersonal strife in doing that. Now, CL seems to have an incredibly high distress tolerance for other people's emotions. So CL seems to be a person who sees this and says, I can lean into this. I can close the gaps when people are struggling. And what I love about the image that's on the screen right now is Lune is a distancer. Again, neither one is right or wrong. Mael's boundaries would be the important component here for talking about it relative to Mael, but like we literally see Lune turn her back and walk away. And we see CL turn toward. And that is people's orientation to emotional intensity is something that can help you like understand them better. It also can help you anticipate their behavior better. And like, again, neither one's right or wrong. Mael seems to need people to come toward her when she's emotional. And CL has read the room on that particularly well and has the capacity for it. Lune has not shown that she has a particularly high capacity for emotional expression to the point that she wants to go toward it. She wants to follow protocol and regimen and structure and get away from it. Maybe because it makes her uncomfortable, maybe because she doesn't know what to do, or maybe because she just simply needs to be more by herself when there is a spike in intensity, and that's perfectly okay too. But you see a lot of good group dynamic stuff when you pay attention to that kind of thing. Verso is at a disadvantage here. I don't envy being in Verso's position. Verso wants to be helpful. He wants to provide some level of insight and stability. He wants to show that he's an ally, but he is inherently an out-group member. And when people are under significant duress, they tend not to really deal well with outsiders when they have the luxury to think about it, and it's not like an immediate survival situation where it's like, yeah, you can fight, cool. Yeah, you can move, cool. So, he still has to feel them out. Now, if I'm Verso, what I'm doing here is I'm paying attention to what I'm talking about. I'm saying, interesting. So Mael seems to be the person who's willing to name the tough thing. In part because developmentally, I don't think Mael she doesn't have the same amount of years of desensitization to it. Right? If CL and Lune are 33, 32, whatever, I don't remember. They have more years of habituation to this. And that doesn't mean that they're any less aware of how awful this is. Like, they may be experiencing the emotion of it and they just don't show it as outwardly. But Mael doesn't have as many years of this. Mael, in fact, is still like developing at a more rapid rate than they are and is having to experience this as part of her. Like, this is really intense. Her calling attention to that is okay. And I think it's also okay if like somebody like Lune or Verso says, Mael, I'm not as affected by it. It doesn't bother me as much. I've spent a lot of time thinking about it, and I see the piles of dead bodies, and it doesn't get a rise out of me in the same way that it seems to you. And I don't need you to numb your experience to it. And I also don't need to be more sensitive to it because the way that I'm oriented toward it is just like this. Like, you can have varied degrees of resiliency to it. And again, it's neither right or wrong unless it's going to put you in a compromised position to be in either state. Like, if you're completely numb to it and you're not engaging with the reality of the situation because you're just not paying attention, that's not good. If you're so steeped in the emotion of it that you're not engaging the front of your brain and making quality decisions for yourself, that's also not good. So there's a balance happening within the group where they're going to oscillate here between acknowledgement of how awful this is and then also just becoming party to their brain's inability to comprehend the scale of how crazy this is. There are so many dead bodies around us. There's death and destruction. Mael, very sensitive to it, has made meaning out of it, in part because her attachment figure, primary attachment figure, is now gone and dead. And so it's like the Grand Theft Auto effect, where you hop in a Banshee and all of a sudden there's like 30 Banshees around. You're like, wow, there's a lot of sports cars around here. It's like her primary attachment figure died, and now the sensitivity to death and the awareness of it is just so much more heightened. But again, not that it isn't for the others. Everybody is managing this in the way that they need to. It's tough. Like it's really tough. And I think I just said a lot of things, but I think the major point that I want to make here about this is systems do better when they allow for a flexibility of emotional intensity and for different ways of orienting toward it. When systems become overly rigid in any particular direction, that's where we run into problems. So if Mael expresses this and everybody's like, yo, Mael, knock it off. We're keeping it flatlined here. That's not good for Mael. It's not good for the system. In the same way that if Mael is like, I need everybody to get as emotional as I am. Also not good for the system necessarily. But some level of flexibility for people to experience the increases and decreases in sensitivity to certain things is good, because if the system can kind of work with it and have a bit more liquidity around it, then there's an intimacy that builds, there's a trustworthiness, there's more validation. People are able to take on adversity often much more effectively than when systems get rigid. And unfortunately, systems tend to get rigid. It takes intention to allow yourself more flexibility. And the group, I don't think, is at a point where I'd be sitting here going like, whoa, we really got to work on some shit. I mean, all of this is pretty common stuff that I would expect to have happen. But I do think it's interesting to see that there's a dynamic here where, like, Mael expresses herself, Lune kind of distances and tries to push forward. CL has some level of compulsion to attend to the emotion, maybe at the risk of not paying attention to her own. And then Verso's kind of sitting there trying to figure it out. What do you call the system here? The group. The group of people. So this group, families. I mean, groups are, systems are nested in other systems. So you have like the individual system, you have your internal system, and then you have like your micro system, which are the immediate people around you. So that would be the 4 people in this group. You have the macro system, which is like the system at large here, the general community we're in. The meso system is the system of interaction between the micro and the macro. And then you have broader systems of like culture and stuff like that. I'm not going to go too far into that. But essentially, systems are embedded within systems. And so different systems have different norms, different rules, different structures, all these sorts of things that maintain themselves. And there's all sorts of cool theories about like how systems do, like how they handle adversity, that you tend to only see the bones and structure of a system when a transition is forced upon it. And how do people navigate it? How do they come together? And where's their equilibrium? And what do they try to pull back versus what are they willing to walk into? Like there's all sorts of stuff like that. But anyway, I don't want to go too far into that. Essentially, what's interesting to me here is just the dynamic we're seeing about Mael expresses. Mael brings attention to the present. DL has some sense of need to take care of. Lune walks away. If I'm a therapist working with them, like as a family, that's a dynamic that if I observe it over time and see patterns, I might call attention to it and ask if that's functional for them or if there's things they'd like to change about it. To be empathic to Verso for a second too, because Verso's not, I don't think he's a bad dude or anything, like at least he hasn't shown himself to be. To be empathic to Verso, he is on an island right now, and he unfortunately does not have many people outside of maybe like Renoir and the whatever that like masked girl is. Nobody here can understand his experience. He is much more likely to be able to find and dig deep for empathy for them. They have limitations on their empathy for him because they can't empathize with what it's like to be immortal. They can't empathize with what it's like to have hundreds. I mean, he's got hundreds of years of this, and there's a tendency to maybe look at this and go, oh, you're desensitized to it. He might be so sensitized to it that like he just has to cope constantly. And it's harder and harder for him to see this stuff, knowing that like death is not something that's going to befall him, but he knows that it may befall them. And then they can't connect with him because if he tries to describe it, like, oh, poor you, you lived 100 years. You essentially like fought against the thing that we're trying to fight against on behalf of the masses. And again, that's where we get into comparisons, where if you get into the pain Olympics in general, let alone with like emotional pain, it is not good for connection. So I would hope that at some point, one of the three members of the group might look at Verso and go, hey man, you're rolling with us. How are you doing? Like, we're all in this together. What are your struggles? Because he certainly deserves to have that too. Dude's seen some shit. And now Millennia shows up on the bridge. Oh shit. Oh, this is way worse than I thought. That thing is cool.
Are you hurt?
I'm fine. Thanks.
Ready?
Cool. Alright. Dualiste.
Careful, Mael. Let us stain them.
We'll learn.
Feel the burn.
I would have lived.
And yeah.
Watch out, Mael.
Oh, I thought I had that. I really thought
Let's
I had
carve a
that.
path. Target marked.
On me.
Feel the burn.
You're outmatched. Target marked.
That's only my first form. How about number 2? He's got 4 arms, so I'm guessing this is gonna happen 4 times.
Incoming.
From fire.
Incoming!
Oh, I missed one. Oh. Need Versa to lose health.
Here we go.
On me. Shut.
Can't expect me to
Take cover!
Sign up.
Converted is a status effect that prevents the character from being healed. Oh shit, I'm just gonna get hurt if I do that.
From fire.
Take cover! Chrome is flowing. Lightning strike!
Well matched.
Oh, alright. Hell yeah, dude. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good stuff right there. Hey, what's the coolest possible thing you can do? Do that.
Turns out this Neverin wasn't that strong, but you did well. You learn fast.
All this. This is what we're fighting for.
Cool fight. Cool animation. That was really nice by Lune. For a couple reasons. One, if you're okay, so obviously my therapist hat's on here. Something that I really try to put a lot of energy into acknowledging if I ever see this in like couples and family sessions is when somebody steps outside of their own comfort zone to disrupt a pattern and do for somebody what they need, even when it's uncomfortable. And that's what Lune just did. So Lune, normally somebody who will engage protocol and blah, 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 turns toward Mael, notices that she's still very cognizant of all the death around her, closes the gap physically, And then in her own way provides a like energizing-ish reframe that still acknowledges how hard this is for Mael. Right? It wasn't, don't be affected by this. It was, of course you're affected by this, and this is why we're doing what we're doing. This is what keeps me going, is knowing that we're trying to prevent this. And that's going to be something that makes it easier for Mael to engage with, because Lune did the thing that she needed to do to connect with her. Which is why I think Mael was a lot more receptive to that instead of like pushing against it and whatever. And if I'm the therapist there, I'm going to give Lune a lot of credit for that. And I'm also going to, at some point, maybe not immediately, but I'm going to look at Mael and say, hey, I think it's probably worthwhile for you to acknowledge to Lune that that was something you appreciate, if it was indeed something that you have been working toward, because I see Lune really tried to meet you where you're at on that. But sometimes what will happen is if people want change from somebody and that person brings change, they don't really acknowledge it or reinforce it. They'll instead just take it as like, well, that's what you were supposed to do because I asked. Reinforcement is a really powerful thing. So if Mael, I'm not trying to speak for Mael here, but if Mael did appreciate that, sees that from Lune, not that she has to do it in the moment, but maybe when we're back at camp, she says to Lune, hey, when you approached me in the cave, I really appreciated that acknowledgement. Thank you for handling it that way. That would go a long way. Reward desirable behavior. Reframes can be very effective. So like the other thing that Lune did that was helpful there is it's a reframe. And something that I talk about on stream all the time and have talked about in other playthroughs and maybe even this one as well is that you don't really get to decide how you're affected by things emotionally. Like Mael sees all this death and she has a reaction to it and that's okay. But one of the things that you can control is the perspective that you decide to take on things that are coming in. And what aspects of it you focus on. You know, the old cliche analogy being, are you a glass half full or glass half empty kind of person? It doesn't have to be that hard of a binary. It can be more complex than that. But you could look at all this death and destruction and choose to engage this is hopeless and we'll never get anywhere, and this is terrible and I hate that I'm seeing it and I don't ever want to see it again. I'm not even saying that's not valid. That's just a choice. You also could choose to look at all the dead bodies and go, love this, dude. This is so metal. I love seeing so many dead bodies around. Or you could choose to look at it and say, this is terrible, and this is why I do what I do. This is why I'm fighting for what I'm fighting for. There's an infinite number of ways that you can take one stimulus and process it. And so reframes sometimes are really nice. They're not always necessary, but they can be really nice because it can give an alternative perspective on a similar stimuli that might actually help a person engage action more effectively for themselves. Reframes require that you acknowledge and understand what you're actually reframing, which is a part that a lot of people miss. And so that's why I think what Lune did really well here is closing the gap and acknowledging the emotion of it, even if just by having physical proximity before providing some level of reframe here that maybe Mael can be galvanized by. Dualiso. Not even close to as powerful as that. All right, friends. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch part 11. I'm very much looking forward to seeing where we go from here. Do leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, follow the links, check out my other playthroughs, all that fun stuff. There's just dead bodies everywhere. It is pretty rough. I appreciate your engagement on these videos so much. Thanks for taking the time to watch them. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. If you do financially support the stream in any way, thank you very much for doing that as well. I'm very grateful for that. And y'all are just awesome. I really enjoy creating these videos and engaging with all the people that watch them. So you rock. If you are binging, I'll see you right here in the next episode. If you're waiting for the next one to come out, I'll get it out as soon as I can. I appreciate you. You matter. And I will see you in the next one.